Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kate Climo, and I'll be your host. As part of Cox Communications' commitment to education and civic engagement in Orange County, Cox 3 is hosting a series of forums featuring candidates in the upcoming June 3rd statewide primary election. The candidates with us today are running for the open 5th District County Supervisorial seat, which is currently held by Supervisor Pat Bates, who is termed out. Home to more than 600,000 residents, the 5th District encompasses the South Orange County cities of Aliso Viejo, Dana Point, Laguna Beach, Laguna Hills, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Woods, Lake Forest, Mission Viejo, Rancho Santa Margarita, San Clemente, San Juan Capistrano, and the community of Newport Coast, as well as the unincorporated areas of Coda de Caza, Ladera Ranch, Las Flores, and Wagon Wheel. Please welcome our candidates, Joe Williams, Lisa Bartlett, Robert Ming, and Frank Uri. So here's how the format will go. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to make an opening statement. I will then pose a series of questions, and each candidate will have 1 minute in which to respond. At the end of the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute to provide a closing statement. Beginning in the order they appear on the ballot, we'll start with the opening statement from Joe Williams.
Hi, my name is Joe Williams. For the past 35 years, I've dedicated my life to keeping us safe from people that wanted to harm us and people that wanted to take advantage of us. I have done this as a decorated Army veteran, as a police officer and detective, and as a deputy district attorney prosecuting criminals. What has made me successful as a deputy district attorney is the fact that I'm independent, that I always seek the truth, and that I will root out corruption wherever I find it. Independence. Independence is necessary for our representatives. We need to know that they will represent us and not some political party. As the only nonpartisan conservative candidate, I will not answer to a party boss. The only person that I will answer to is you. Truth. Before we can decide what reasonable steps need to be made to fix our common problems, we have to know what the truth is. Unfortunately, partisan politics has created the environment that they have to spin everything to protect their positions. I say it's time that we stop this and we start telling the people the truth. I believe that we, if we know what the truth is, can use common sense to fix our common problems. Root out corruption. I'm the only candidate that has actively rooted out corruption for the past decades. In doing this, I follow the money, I determine where the corruption lies, and I eliminate it. I have done this in my organized crime cases, public corruption cases, and for my identity theft groups. I will use those same skills to protect you and your pocketbook from government. Thank you very much.
The next opening statement comes from Lisa Bartlett.
Hello, I'm Lisa Bartlett, current mayor for the city of Dana Point. I am passionate about good government, and that's why I'm running for the Orange County Board of Supervisors. I'm a native Californian and 25-year resident of Dana Point. By way of background, I have a bachelor's in finance, a master's in business. I'm a certified public management professional and a licensed real estate broker. I've got over 15 years of senior corporate management experience, and that coupled with my experience in the public sector, I'm the only candidate serving in leadership positions on any significant regional boards. I've accomplished a lot in our city of Dana Point. We're one of the few cities in the state of California that can say we have no unfunded liability, pension liability. We have a balanced budget, we have no debt, and we have large cash reserves. Those are the types of principles that I would bring with me to the County of Orange. At the County of Orange, there are a lot of issues and challenges and opportunities that need to be addressed. And with my background and experience that I've had in the private sector and in the public sector leading organizations, I feel that I'm uniquely qualified to serve as the county supervisor governing America's 5th largest county. I've been a resident for a number of years and done a lot on the nonprofit side in the community, giving back to the community, serving as a board of director at the Ocean Institute. And all of these interactions with individuals in the community and organizations that I've been with have served me well, and I think have me well poised to move up in office and to serve the residents of South Orange County. You know, we have a lot of things to address regarding unfunded pension liability at the county level, essential services that need to be delivered, and dealing with the unincorporated areas. So we have a lot of issues to address, like transportation and mobility as well. And I think with my background and experience, I'm well suited to do so. I serve as chairwoman for the Foothill Eastern Toll Road for the past 2 years, and I'm very familiar with what we need to do to address our transportation and mobility issues in South Orange County. Thank you for your time today, and I appreciate your vote.
And now the opening statement from Robert Ming.
Hi, I'm Robert Ming, two-time mayor of the city of Laguna Niguel, father of 4, and married to my wife Susie for 21 years. I'm running for Orange County Supervisor because I care about my community, and I'm concerned about it. I think I have the skills, experience, creativity, and work ethic to actually make your lives better, and that's what I'd like the opportunity to do. South County is a beautiful place to live, work, and raise a family. But because partially of our own decisions and partially from bad decisions in Sacramento, we have some very serious budget crises that we have to work through. If we don't get our financial house in order, it'll be very difficult to provide the public safety services, the traffic improvements, park and other neighborhood improvements that we need to keep our quality of life high. Solving these problems is going to require collaborative solutions, working together, and that's what I've done for my entire professional career. As a professional, I structure and negotiate large transactions for an investment banking firm. I know how to bring people together and get deals done. On the City Council in Laguna Niguel, we've run balanced budgets every year. We even won an award for building our City Hall on time, under budget, and paid for with cash. That's how government should work. Regionally, I was the founding president of the Association of California Cities and chaired its Pension Reform Committee. Through the good work of that committee, 23 cities have already been able to help solve their pension problems, and that's the kind of collaborative decision-making I'd like to bring to the county. I'm proud to be endorsed by Chairman of the Board Sean Nelson, Supervisor John Morlock, the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, the California Republican Assembly, the Lincoln Club of Orange County, and countless elected officials and citizens just like you who want to make sure that Orange County is better for their children than it was when they found it. I think that you'll be surprised how much we can accomplish together, and I'm looking forward to working for you. Thanks very much.
And now the opening statement from Frank Uri.
Thank you very much. For the past 25 years, my wife and I have lived in South County and raised our family. We've been active in AYSO, Little League, girls softball, and of course, active in the schools. For the past 10 years, I've served on the City Council in Mission Viejo, and we've got a lot of accomplishments to show for it. First and foremost, we have the best run city, candidly, in South County. We have enacted pension reform way back in 2006 before it was even something that anybody discussed. That pension reform that we enacted over 8 years ago has saved our city millions of dollars. We're also rated every year as the safest city in California, and it's not by accident. We have partnerships both with the Sheriff's Department, with our local schools, and with other government agencies to not only take care of crime, but also to prevent it. In addition, we have record reserves, and it's, once again, not by accident, it's by design. A couple years ago, my colleagues in the South County elected me to the Orange County Transportation Authority. The Transportation Authority is responsible for all the roads, bridges, and freeways in South County and a lot of other programs. Within 1 year of being on that committee, being on the Transportation Authority, we enacted pension reform there, and that saved Orange County taxpayers in the tens of millions of dollar range over the next 20 years. What do we need to do in Orange County to make things better? Well, I think there are several things that we need to attack, and as a professional engineer, I think I've got the skill set to help make those things happen. First and foremost, we need to make sure that we're working on the financial issues that are affecting our county. We do have pension reform issues. We will attack those. The second thing, we need to make sure we're working on transportation. We have $1 billion worth of transportation programs coming into South County over the next 8 years. They need to have good stewardship to make sure that they're completed. My endorsements include Sheriff Hutchins, District Attorney Rakakis, the Orange County Taxpayers Association, and the Orange County Business Council. I certainly hope that on June 3rd that I earn your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer portion of the forum. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the question posed. Our first question. The county's budget took a hit when the courts required the county to repay the state $150 million in vehicle license fees. With this significant revenue loss, what avenues will you pursue to ensure the county can continue meeting its obligation to fund public safety and community services? We'll start with Ms. Bartlett.
Well, it was a big loss for the county to lose those dollars. However, the county has a budget of about $8.9 billion and 18,000 employees, and it truly needs to run more efficiently. And that's something that I would bring to the table because I've got a lot of experience in the private sector and know how to run companies efficiently. Two things that come to mind: technology. The county has multiple technology centers with antiquated technology. We need to centralize that technology with new equipment. Also, county essential services. Health services, for instance. If you don't have health insurance, you can go into the hospital. It's $3,500 as opposed to being educated about where to go for alternatives and going to somewhere like the Camino Health Trailers where the cost is $35. So the county can literally save millions of dollars by running its organization more efficiently, and that's something that I would do at county government.
Mr. Ming?
Thanks. Solving the county's budget crisis is going to be a combination of things that we'll need to do. First, we're going to need to make sure that we look at all the different services that the county provides and think about them critically. Is the thing that we're doing something that we should be doing? And if it is, are we doing it in the most efficient way? I'm proud of the work that I've done working with the private sector to bring them in to help find efficiencies in government. I think by doing that, we can make government run more like a business in ways that make sure that we meet our bottom line obligations and still serve our people well. I also think that we have to continue to work with our employee groups. The pension reform issues that we talked about earlier and the compensation issues that are facing us at the county will need to be addressed, and we need to address them in a collaborative way that we can bring people to the table and find solutions that work for everyone. It's going to be a challenging road, but I know that we can do it if we work hard on it together.
Mr. Uri?
Thank you. Obviously, the first place you start looking is in the pension area, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, especially if you're reading the paper lately. But there's also a couple other areas that I think are easily explored and can have a lot of benefits. The first one is, how can we leverage contracting out? We need to take a look at what services are essential to the county and what we can contract out to save some of the dollars that are out there. The second one, and probably even the most important one, is looking at sharing services. For example, in Mission Viejo, we provide animal services to Laguna Niguel, Aliso Viejo. We provide IT services to several other cities. We share those services, and by doing so, we reduce the cost to all the agencies. We need to take a look and figure out why, for instance, the county itself has its own payroll system. Everybody outsources payrolling, or everybody shares payrolling services with others. We need to figure out ways of putting these good, sound business practices in place to help the county save money, because the money is not going to be coming back. We're going to have to work and do it from internal.
Mr. Williams?
Thank you. I think the thing that most of us would like to do is to take it out of the career politicians that caused this $150 million debacle. However, that's not possible. So I agree with the other candidates that we need to use all of those things that they've mentioned to help reduce the burden upon the taxpayer. We also need to remember that we have to improve our debt problem by using some of the improved revenues that we have now to pay off that debt, so that the structured payments of $50 million a year over the next 3 years is mitigated. That way, the cuts to essential services will be helped, and that we will be able to keep our communities safe. Thank you.
Great. Let's move on to the next question. Approximately 50,000 residents currently live in unincorporated, county-controlled areas in the 5th District, including those in the communities of Ladera Ranch, Las Flores, and Coto de Caza. Approximately 30,000 residents will soon be added to this number as the new community of Rancho Mission Viejo is built out. What are your solutions to manage this growth, and should these areas remain a part of the county or incorporate as cities? We'll start with Mr. Ming.
Thanks very much. This is a great question, because the Rancho Mission Viejo developments that will be coming in are going to be a very big factor that influence the quality of life of surrounding communities. I've said for a long time that I'm a big supporter of local control, and I believe that citizens are best served by cities that can represent their interests. So I think it's very important that those new communities do form into viable, successful cities that can represent them well. Those cities can help them understand what they need from public safety, from infrastructure improvements, and provide a much better quality of service than we could at the county. I also think that we have to be sensitive to the surrounding communities as those developments go in to make sure that we don't impair the quality of life in places like San Juan Capistrano and Mission Viejo, and that we continue to do the improvements that will help make that area viable, like complete the La Plata extension, and continue to work on an alternate resolution for the 241 toll road to make sure that we can ease traffic congestion that will be created by that eastern border. It's a great community. It can have some great success, and people will be very happy to live there, but we have to be careful with the way we let it go to make sure that people's quality of life is preserved.
Mr. Uri.
Thank you. We do have a big challenge in South County with the addition of 15,000 houses and 5 million square feet of commercial space. To do that, we're going to have to do a myriad of things. The first one, obviously, is make sure that we're on top of our infrastructure. As a member of OCTA, we're working all the time to make sure that all the infrastructure needs are in place. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I was at the La Plata groundbreaking project that has been on the books for 50 years. We're now starting to move those things forward. At the local level, we really need to make sure that we're concerned about what the local communities want. I am a champion of local control. This is not going to be something where the county or the state or the other local governments or other governments are going to be able to fix this. It's going to be a local solution. We need to make sure that we're working with those governments, with the other agencies to put in the infrastructure, to put in the water, to put in the power. There's a lot of issues that need to be resolved. It's going to be done in a collaborative environment. With the work that we've done in Mission Viejo, the collaboration has definitely been there. As you've seen us work with other cities, we can do the same thing for the Rancho Mission Viejo development. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you. I believe that the incorporation issue definitely needs to be decided by the people that live in those communities. If they believe that they're being properly served by the county government that's in place, they are the ones that need to decide. The problem with everybody incorporating is that creates the duplicative services and stuff that Mr. Uri was alluding to earlier. That costs the taxpayers more money. So I'm not sure that incorporation is necessarily the best way to go on that. I also agree that as we develop, we need to constantly keep in mind the impact that development has on the rest of the community. We need to tie to all of our new development road issues, utilities, the water issues. Otherwise, it's going to impact the private property rights of the rest of us. I think that that is the way to go, and I thank you.
Ms. Bartlett.
Okay. We do have a lot of building going on in South Orange County with 80,000 people and millions of square feet of retail coming into play as well. I think incorporation can be a very good idea. It will give those newly incorporated cities a sense of community and give them local control and ability to govern their quality of life and deal with their essential services that are best for their cities. But we need to do that in a very collaborative and thoughtful process, and that's something that I would do as the county supervisor. We need to make sure that those communities are compatible in a number of ways, not just drawing circles around areas that are contiguous. We need to deal with the regional transportation and mobility issues for those areas as well, so that we can ease the gridlock with these newly developed areas. Thank you.
Well, we're going to continue on this idea of infrastructure and go to our next question. Do you support the Transportation Corridor Agency's plans for the 241 Tesoro extension? Along with that, do you support the 241 eventual connection to I-5 south of San Clemente? And what is your proposed alternate solution to relieve I-5 congestion in South County? This time we'll start with Mr. Uri.
Thank you. An easy question to answer in a minute. I obviously am a strong supporter of the 241 extension, both all the way to Tesoro and eventually down to the 5 freeway. It's been one of the bigger disappointments politically in South County that we haven't had any progress on it made really in the last 15 years. So should I become your next supervisor, you will find a lot of my effort devoted to making sure that we extend the toll road and basically bring the traffic relief in place. But as an official and a member and a director of the Orange County Transportation Authority, the answer to the second part of your question is we've already authorized over $1 billion worth of improvements for for the 5 freeway, irrespective of what happens to the 241. We have the Pico widening that is currently underway that should be done by 2017. And in 2017, we'll be starting the El Toro Y widening, which will add a lane in each direction and will add some additional length for the carpool lanes. So between the two of those, we should have a lot of good traffic relief. The challenge is we've got to get the 241 completed. If we don't, the question that you previously asked in terms of how we're going to handle the ranch development, it's going to become a larger mess, and I'm ready to make sure we clean it up. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you. I too believe that we need to build the infrastructure that's in place and to look at the extension as a viable option. However, unfortunately, the federal government has killed this project, extending it down to the 5. We need to take what we have and figure out means around it. I also think that we still need to figure out an alternative, and one way to do that would be to use a bipartisan effort to reach the folks that are in the federal government, as well as to deal with the Marine Corps issues and the environmental issues at the same time. This is an environmentally sensitive area, and we need to be sensitive to that as well as stewards of our society. So I do believe that we need to deal with those issues, and we need to keep trying, but the reality is the extension is dead right now. Thank you.
Ms. Bartlett.
Well, as chairwoman of the Foothill Eastern Toll Road, I can tell you this is something we're working very diligently about. With regard to the Tesoro extension, this is a critical component to relieving traffic and mobility in South Orange County. We've got gridlock on our streets. The Tesoro extension, for those of you who aren't familiar, is from the terminus right now at Oso Parkway to Cow Camp Road, which is just shy of Ortega Highway. That component alone, that 5.5-mile segment, will greatly improve traffic and mobility in that entire region, especially with all of the new development. With regard to the completion of the 241 toll road, those are issues that we need to face. There are a lot of challenges, both environmentally and politically, and those are hurdles that need to get addressed. We don't know the exact route, but we do know we need to have a redundant route to the Interstate 5 freeway for public safety and for other purposes. Thank you.
Mr. Uri. Or Mr. Ming, even better. Mr. Ming.
Thanks very much. The Tesoro extension is an important piece of the community that needs to be there for the new development to go in, and I would very much like to see it go on its own. But people are concerned because they still see the continuing alignment that ends at Trestles. And I know there are people that are continuing to be concerned by that. And I think that what we need to do is go back to the drawing board on the alignments that we have. Because if we don't, we're going to keep banging our head against the same wall and have the same trouble getting it completed. I have some great relationships with the Marines. I think that if we open up a new dialogue with them and try to address the environmental concerns and the alignment concerns so that we can find a way to complete the 241 that doesn't harm the sensitive environmental and surf areas, I think we'll have a much better chance at completing that road, and I'd like to see us do that. It's going to take some collaboration, it's going to take bringing people to work together, and it'll take some open-mindedness, but if we fix the final alignment, I think we'll have much better chances of getting the Tesoro extension approved. So that's what I would do if I were a county supervisor. Thanks.
Okay, this will be our last question before closing statements. In Orange County, local governments, businesses, education, and nonprofits have a history of working together for the region. Can you share with us any local efforts that demonstrate your ability to work collaboratively with regional stakeholders on important public policy issues? For this, we'll start with Mr. Williams.
Thank you. As a deputy district attorney, I was assigned to the major fraud unit. And during that time, I realized that we had a billion-dollar theft ring that was operating out of Eastern Europe that was choosing to victimize our citizens here as well as around the United States. What troubled me was the fact that there was nobody there to protect the people. So with the blessing of my boss, I was able to bring together not only federal agencies that almost never work together, but also foreign partners, banks, and other communities and local jurisdictions to create a de facto task force which helped bring down this billion-dollar enterprise that was ripping us off. It's through work like that we can solve our problems together. I've kept us safe for for 35 years, and I intend to keep doing it by solving our problems together. Thank you.
Ms. Bartlett.
I think by working collaboratively is the best way to have great solutions that can get crafted for the region. And that's something that I've done as mayor, serving in a number of different capacities on nonprofit organizations and in elected government. I started the Contract Cities Working Group to improve and enhance the public safety aspect for all of our contract cities in South Orange County. We work very closely with the Sheriff's Department. We also created the Hide It, Lock It, or Lose It program in the city of Dana Point, which is now used in a number of cities in South Orange County. We work very closely with the Chamber of Commerce and the South Orange County Association of Mayors, ACCOC, and other organizations to create good government solutions for South Orange County. And as I mentioned, working collaboratively will allow us to get the best solutions for the long term for the county. Thank you.
Mr. Ming.
Thanks very much. When South County cities, well actually when Orange County cities were struggling with working together and finding ways to meet, I helped form the Association of California Cities Orange County to provide a forum for them to be able to work together. When our military in Laguna Niguel needed some better support than they were getting, I helped form the Laguna Niguel Military Support Foundation, and together we brought many people in the community together to help our sailors and Marines. When cities in Orange County were struggling with pension reform, I helped chair the Pension Reform Committee, and we developed those best practice guidelines that people are using. And cities have been struggling with economic development best practices, how best to be business friendly in their communities. So I chaired a committee to help develop best practice guidelines to help them be business friendly, to be more like a concierge at a hotel when somebody walks in the door and needs to get help. Those are the kind of things that I've been working on for years. I also serve on the Transportation Corridor agencies, and I've been trying to bring accountability and transparency to those agencies as I've been serving on those boards. I'm proud of the work that I've done so far, and I'd like to continue to do that kind of work to bring accountability, transparency, and collaboration to people across Orange County.
And for our last answer, Mr. Uri.
Thank you very much. Mission Viejo has a long history of collaboration and working together. We are actually the center of the Emergency Operations Center here in South County, and we have collaborative relationships with all the cities that serve all the residents of South County. In addition, as a member of the Orange County Transportation Authority, our job is to basically go out and work with the different agencies, different cities, to make sure that we're alleviating their problems. And just as an example, we found out just a few months ago that Laguna Woods was going to have a shortfall in their senior mobility program. I stepped in, as did Supervisor Bates. We were able to fix the problem and come up with a funding source, so now those seniors don't have anything to worry about. We need to be working on creative and collaborative ideas. Sharing services is going to be vital. And what's interesting is over the last 6 years, the whole tone of agencies and cities working together has changed. It's been a good change. 15, 16, 5 years ago, everybody wanted to do their own thing. Now they're all coming together and working together. And as I mentioned before, we share IT services. We provide animal services for other agencies. You're going to see a lot more of that. It'll be good to have somebody who's actually implemented those processes on the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your responses. We will now move to closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute. And for this, we'll begin with Ms. Bartlett.
Thank you. I believe that I've got the leadership skills and the experience to address the issues, challenges, and opportunities facing South Orange County, and to really grow our local economy, maintain a high level of public safety, and preserve and enhance our quality of life, which is very important to all of us. I'm proud to have the endorsement of Congressman Darrell Issa, as well as many local elected officials and businesses, as well as business leaders. I respectfully ask for your vote on or before June 3rd, and ask you to vote for Lisa Bartlett for Supervisor. If you'd like more information, my website is lisaforsupervisor.com. Thank you very much for your time today.
Mr. Ming.
Thanks very much. And thanks to Cox for providing this forum for us. It's difficult for us to reach out to a district this large with 600,000 people in it. Communicating the good ideas that we have is very challenging. But I'm committed to hearing from you, the people. And that's why don't be surprised if I knock on your front door. We've knocked on thousands of doors already, and we'll be out knocking on lots more before this election is over, because I want to hear from you. I'd like to be able to represent you, and doing that means I need to listen. And I'd like to do that wherever you are. Orange County is a beautiful place to live, and we have lots of potential, and I'd love to see us reach our highest potential. I'm convinced that there's no limit to what we can accomplish if we work together. So I'd ask that you would help me to serve you as your Orange County Supervisor. So vote for Robert Ming on June 3rd. Thanks very much.
Mr. Uri.
Thank you very much. You do have a tough challenge because there's a lot of good candidates running. I think there are a few differences among us that are very important. The first of which, serving on the Orange County Transportation Authority, I'm on an agency that's 50 times the size of any of my colleagues currently serving on. That's a differentiator. That's a difference that needs to be taken into account. I also have much more of a regional span than they do, handling everything from North Orange County all the way down here, and a lot more contacts to make sure that South County continues to be represented properly. In addition to that, I've got some of the best endorsements that are out there. As I mentioned before, my record in public safety has earned me the endorsement of Sheriff Hutchins and District Attorney Rackauckus. My work on economic development and job growth has earned me the endorsements of the Orange County Taxpayers Association and the Orange County Business Council. There's a lot of things that are going to be going on over the next 10 years, and South County is going to be the best place to make it all happen. I look forward to working for you, and if you'd like some more information, you can visit my website at www.frankforoc.com. Please vote for Frank Uri on June 3rd. Thank you.
And now, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, and thank you again for the opportunity to be heard. Each one of us, as you've heard, basically stands for the same thing. So what's the distinction between each one of us that makes you choose somebody over the other three candidates? Frankly, I think ultimately it's going to come down to the fact that I protected you for 35 years, the fact that I'm independent of any political party. I refuse to be told by political bosses what to do or what not to do. I will do what's right for us as citizens. I also stand for the truth. I am not going to use spin to try to get myself out of problems or to hide problems for a particular party. I'm going to tell you the truth because I believe in the American people and I believe that we can solve these problems together. And I also believe that we can eliminate the corruption that causes a lot of these problems. That means that the politicians that have gotten us into this issue don't pay for it. We pay for it. So if you want to be safe, you want your pocketbook to be safe, vote Joe Williams. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the program. We'd like to thank Joe Williams, Lisa Bartlett, Robert Ming, and Frank Uri for taking time from their campaigns to join us for this edition of the Cox 3 Candidates Forum. This episode, as well as the rest in the series, will be available on Cox On Demand, channel 2636, and on the Cox 3 website at cox3.com. Thank you for joining us. For Cox 3, I'm Kate Climo. Please be sure to vote on June 3rd.